So we know how to use Excel and create some data for Excel. I'm doing 5 different majors here for our fictitious Acme College, the number of students, how to calculate the percentage, and we know we can select that and create a nice little chart. Then we might be tempted to use that chart in a PowerPoint slide. We've all heard of the death by PowerPoint, kind of boring. Don't you think your audience would rather than look at this, would they prefer to view this? Much more interesting, and with our skills in Photoshop, we can easily do this. So I'm going to bring that Excel chart into Photoshop, just copy and paste. We'll use some clipping mask of the images for each of those pies, add some text, and we'll create a seamless pattern from the Acme College logo here. We're going to get rid of the text and just use the graphics part of the logo, and then put that as a repeating pattern in our background. That's our project. I'm going to get you started, but I'm going to leave some of this up to you. I start with an image that's 1920 by 1080 pixels, and for the background I added a light blue gradient background. Nice little calming effect. I want it a little bit lighter at the top, darker at the bottom. I copied and pasted the chart from Excel into as a new layer in Photoshop. And then I added a layer mask to get rid of everything but the pie chart itself, and added a little drop shadow to it, just for some visual interest. Next, I added the text. So we have our wedges for business, construction, engineering, information technology, and nursing all identified. Much more readable than that Excel chart was, more visually interesting even at this point, but we're going to make it more interesting by putting pictures in the different wedges. So you need to go out and find 5 different images that represent business, construction, engineering, information technology, and nursing. I recommend finding images that have people in them. That's usually a little more visually interesting to viewers, but people that represent those 5 majors. So here's the one I found for business. I resized it, and as you've seen me do before, I bring the opacity down on that layer so I can see the pie chart behind that. Resize the image, position it to where I want it. I'll go back to my pie chart layer. I'm going to choose the magic wand tool and just click on that slice of the pie for business. That gives me my selection. I'll go back to the business photo. Let's bring the opacity all the way back up, and then let's add a layer mask. Boom, there's the image in our pie. It's that simple. Do the same thing for the others: construction, engineering, information technology, and nursing. Much more visually interesting now. Next we'll add in our logo, and then I'm going to create a pattern from that logo. Here's the college logo that consists of a vectored piece of clip art and some text that I added for Acme College. I'm going to turn the text off. Let's expand the canvas size. And as we did in the previous example with the Photoshop Awards logo, I'm going to make this pattern 400 by 400. I want to go to the background, and let's just fill everything with white. We'll end up turning the background off, but sometimes it's easier to see things rather than that checkerboard to have a white background. Go back to my logo. I'm going to go Edit, Transform, Scale. Let's bring that logo down quite a bit. Maybe about to there. It takes up about maybe a third. Press the Enter key. I'm going to do the ruler guides. So we're going from 200 pixels vertically and 200 horizontally. That looks like it's pretty well centered. Then I'm going to duplicate that layer. Go to the Filter menu, Other, Offset, and my image is 400 by 400 pixels, so if I do the horizontal wrap around at 200 and the vertical at 200, that should be about right. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to turn the background layer off, And then go to my top layer. I'm just going to create a composite, Control-Alt-N-E, Command-Option-Shift-N-E on the Mac. If I turn anything else off, you'll see that that's the only layer we have anything on. And then I'm going to go to the Edit menu and choose Define Pattern. And I'm going to call this Acme College logo. I'm going to do a 3 because I've done a couple of those before. Say OK. And there's my pattern. Let's just go ahead and choose File, Save As, and I'll say this is Acme College logo pattern. Just so if I want to make changes later, I have it, and then I'll close that. Okay, so back on my chart image, I'm going to add a new layer. Choose Edit, Fill. I'm going to fill the pattern. I want to go find that logo that I just saved. And there's my logo in a seamless pattern. Now it looks really busy. So let's do a couple things to this. I'm going to add a layer style, and we'll do a color overlay. So I'm kind of thinking maybe a gray. Now it looks really bold, so what we're going to do is bring the opacity down so it's much more subtle. I like that. At this point, we want to save our project and then create maybe a JPEG or a PNG that we could then bring into PowerPoint.